Welcome to the Wisdom That Breathes channel. Across all our platforms, we try to share wisdom which is relevant and accessible to everyone. But on this particular platform, we go deeper into some of the ancient principles found within the scriptures. If you find some of the terminology difficult or inaccessible, then go over to our Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll be able to find other content which is perhaps more relatable. Thank you and enjoy the wisdom that breathes. When we take on some tapasya, some difficulty for a higher cause, then it actually generates a heat. And that heat is said to be very, very purifying. So I think everyone has some tapasya in their life. Sannyasis have some tapasya. I think also grihastas, householders have some tapasya, is it? Yeah. I was just in the plains, and when you're in the plains, you see like the parents taking care of the children. It's very difficult for the children to be in a tin cylinder for so long, and they're crying, and the parents are so tolerant. It's tapasya, it's austere. But that selflessness is very wonderful. It means that we develop something deeper in our character and we elevate our consciousness. So whatever you do in this life, there will be tapasya. You can't escape it. Either you do tapasya in spiritual life, or you do tapasya in material life. Either do you do tapasya as a sannyasi, or you do tapasya as a householder. Everyone has to do it because that is the price of developing purity. So sometimes I tell people, tapasya is the price of purity. What do you think? Good price? Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So thank you everyone so much for coming. I'm really happy to be with you here in sunny Sweden. I heard it's the longest day of the year, is it? The brightest day of the year. Tomorrow. Lots of light. So what does that mean? 20 hours of sunlight?
Not here.
Not here. Okay.
Go further north.
Then you go further north. Okay, well. So yes, we need light. Light makes such a difference. We live in a dark world. So wherever there is light, then there is hope, there is clarity, there is a sense of understanding things as they are. And therefore light is so important. But light is not just physical light, therefore the scripture is also said to be that which is giving light. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesham evanukam partham aham agyana jam tamaha nasayam yatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. That knowledge, jnana, is like a deepa, is like a lamp. And what does Krishna say? I, dwelling within the hearts of all living beings, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. And therefore we always turn to the scriptures for light. Today we're remembering this beautiful festival of Raghunath Das Goswami arranging for everyone to have chipped rice. But before we get there, let's begin in the Bhagavad Gita and then see how we get there, and then I'll leave some time for questions and answers. Is that okay? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. So today I thought we could read from Bhagavad Gita. We're reading from chapter number 3, entitled Karma Yoga, and we're reading from text number 39. So I'll just read the Sanskrit and English translations myself. Avritam jnanametena jnanino nityaveirina kamarupena konteya dushpurena nalena cha. Okay, you can repeat after me. Avritam, covered. Jnanam, pure consciousness. Etena, by this. Jnanina, of the knower. Nityavedina, by the eternal enemy. Kamarupena, in the form of lust. Kaunteya, the son of Kunti. Dushpurena, never to be satisfied. Analena, by the fire. Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. Purport: it is said in the Manu Smriti that lust cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, just as fire is never extinguished by a constant supply of fuel. In the material world, the center of all activities is sex, and thus this material world is called Maitunya Agar, or the shackles of sex life. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by sex life. Advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of the material existence of a living entity. Therefore, this lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. I thought I'd pick a light purport for this afternoon. Srila Prabhupada ki Om Jnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manodesham Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Bhaktakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Namami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Just is anyone here for the first time? Anyone coming for the first time? Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, good to know. So just so you know, when we come here, we read from Bhagavad Gita and we try to understand its relevance in our life. So here, Srila Prabhupada in the purport is making a very eye-opening statement based on what the scriptures are saying, which is that we are living in a prison. Put your hand up if you feel like you're living in a prison. Yeah, the material world is a prison. Actually, I'll read something to you. When I studied at university, and when I graduated, obviously all of me and my classmates, we all went in different directions. So some went into the corporate life, most went into the corporate life, and then there was the black sheeps like me that went into the monk life. So, but there were some of my friends that I kept in touch with, and so now and again we would keep in touch just to see what each other were doing in our lives. And then some time ago, one of them, he texted me like really early in the morning, like a time when only Krishna devotees are awake, you know. Like I woke up at like 4 o'clock and he just messaged me like that, and my initial thing was like, why in the world are you awake at 4 o'clock in the morning? You know, only devotees are that mad, you know. And he texted me, and it was very interesting. His message was a one-liner, and his message was, he said, "You made the right choice." I said, really? So I said, wow, I'm glad to hear that. Even I was having doubts at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know? And then he said, I said, why do you say that? So I asked him on the text message, why do you say that? And then he forwarded me this.
He didn't answer, he just forwarded me this. Shall I read it to you?
Yes.
He said, work or prison? In prison, you spend the majority of your time in an 8 by 10 cell. At work, you spend the majority of your time in a 6 by 8 cubicle. In prison, you get 3 free meals a day. At work, you get 15 minutes for one meal which you have to pay for and eat at your desk. In prison, you get time off for good behavior. At work, you get more work for good behavior. In prison, the taxpayers cover all of your expenses. At work, you pay all the expenses to go to work and then have to deduct taxes from your salary to pay for the prisoners. In prison, you spend most of your life inside bars wanting to get out. At work, you spend most of your time wanting to get out and go inside bars. In prison, you have to deal with miserable wardens. At work, they call managers. I said, I get what you're telling me now. I understand. I said, work doesn't have to be a prison. In fact, Arjun thought that his work in the world, his situation in the world was a prison. And actually Arjun wanted to eject himself from that prison. And Krishna explained to him that you don't have to change your situation, but you have to change your consciousness. What Krishna says here in this verse is that our eternal enemy is lust, the desire to enjoy, the desire for instant gratification of the mind and senses, no matter what the ramifications. And when we live with that kind of mentality, then Krishna says, know for sure that you are living in a prison. You're not free. The free person is not the one who has the choices of the most amount of sense gratification available in the world. That's the definition of freedom now. The more options you have for sense gratification, you're considered to be more free. But what Krishna says is that your ability to discriminate and actually make decisions which will take you to what you really desire, that is what determines your freedom. Not your external situation or your external options, but your internal clarity of mind to be able to make the right option. And therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, most people are living in a prison and they have no idea that they're living in a prison. They have no idea that by every act they're limiting themselves more and more from the happiness, from the freedom, from the contentment, and from the experiences that they seek within their heart. That's such a fascinating concept. What Krishna is basically saying in the Bhagavad Gita is that we are the maker of the prison. We are the inmate inside the prison. And we're also the God that can free ourselves from the prison. That's amazing, isn't it? You think about it. So actually, kids get bored in my talks. Sorry, what to do? Got ejected. So this is very amazing. But actually, the first type of person doesn't even understand that they're in prison. As most people in the world they can't even understand or accept the fact that we are in prison. Too dull, too overcome by material consciousness. One English writer, he said, 2 drugs are allowed in modern civilization. The first drug is caffeine, which energizes you to work like a robot from Monday to Friday. And the second drug that's allowed is alcohol, which keeps you so dull from Friday to Monday that you don't realize the prison you're living in. these two drugs are allowed in modern civilization, because what they do is they dull the person so much that we don't actually understand we're living in a prison. People are living in a prison of a situation, the prison of our own mind. But they don't understand because that's all they know. They in fact think that others who are pursuing to actually get free, they are actually living in prison. It's funny, there was someone who had committed a crime and he was on the run from the police, so he thought, I'll go one place where they'll never find me. So he decided to join a Hare Krishna temple. So he joined the Hare Krishna temple on the run from the police. So what he had to do was do the Hare Krishna program. So he had to wake up every morning, he had to do the Mangalarati, he had to, sleep on the floor, he had to wash the dishes, he had to do, everything, and all the other stuff as well, Harinams and so on and so on. I mean, he became a full-blown devotee on the run. They used to have that film, right, Nuns on the Run. I don't know if you ever watched it. There's a Hare Krishna version, Monks on the Run. So anyway, the amazing thing is, after 6 months, he became so purified by the whole thing. He was like, oh my God, he actually became a devotee of Krishna. But he felt so bad, he had developed all these saintly qualities over his practice. He thought, I have to go to the police and I have to admit my crime, for what I had run away from. So he went. So there was a court hearing. So in the hearing, he came to the front and he said, I admit, I did the crime. So they were fascinated that someone would come forward and turn themselves in like that. So the judge said to him, what made you turn yourself in? He said, I lived at the Hare Krishna temple. I was following this whole program. So the judge said, what's your program? What was your program? He said, I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We used to, wash the dishes. We had to clean the floor. We had to, we hardly ate anything. We had cold showers. We slept on the floor. So he told him the whole program. The judge said, for the crime that you've done, I should send you to prison. But to be honest, the life that you're living sounds worse than prison. You may as well just stay there, I think. Just stay there. Yeah, I mean, you're getting tortured enough there. Just stay there. So it's kind of like that. People are living in a prison. They have no idea. And they think that, those who are doing anything else, they're actually mad. So it's amazing. The first type of person doesn't know that they're even living in a prison. The second type of person, they may know that they're living in a prison. They may know that there's certain limitations in this world, but they don't know any better. And so they accept it. This is what life is. You take the rough with the smooth. And therefore, even in the world today, you find that there are many people who actually knowingly commit a crime. They deliberately commit a crime so that they can go to prison. Did you know this? There are actually people that do that because they actually feel that prison is better than, anything else anyway. But you're living in prison. Yeah, but it's better than...
over again,
They
because
just do it, reoffending.
my friends are there. They do it crime over and over again.
I don't know, my favorite, going to the Maya side now, the Mayic side. My favorite film of all time, I don't know how many of you saw it, was The Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. You ever watched that? That was a good movie. A lot of spiritual lessons. That's how we justify it. Krishna conscious. But in Shawshank Redemption, there was one person like that, no? He couldn't live outside of the prison. And finally, I think he left prison and then he actually killed himself because he couldn't handle life outside of the prison. So the interesting thing is, some people don't even know material life is miserable. Some people know material life is miserable, but it's a misery they can handle. They can deal with it. And they don't see anything better. And therefore they just accept it. And they remain in prison willingly. This is another type of ignorance or lust. And then there's another type of person who understands that we're living in a prison, wants to get out, but still continually performs activities by which they have to again come back into jail, into the prison. They, instead of listening to their deepest desire, they listen to their loudest desire. Put your hand up if you sometimes think you're like that. Instead of listening to what is my deepest desire, I listen to what is the loudest desire. We tell people, don't give up what you want most for what feels good now. But most people can't do that. And therefore, although they want to get out of this prison, although they want to reach a higher place, although they want to enter into the higher spiritual experiences, they can't, because they keep reoffending. And Krishna says, this is lust, the eternal enemy. So you see all three of these people. One person doesn't know they're in prison. One person knows but accepts it. One third person knows and they want to get out, but they keep reoffending. Krishna says all three of these individuals are covered by a different amount of lust. The first person has the thickest covering of lust. The second person has a lesser covering of lust. And the next person has even less, but still that lust is causing them to remain in this jail, remain in this prison. This is the greatest opportunity of life, that through the Bhagavad Gita, we have the opportunity to turn lust into love. And the moment you turn lust into love, the moment you turn selfishness into selflessness, the moment you turn into this chronic tendency to exploit, and rather you change that to the natural, spontaneous desire to empower, encourage, and serve, then what happens is you turn your lust into love. And then what happens is you become free. Freedom is nothing more than our purification of consciousness from lust into love. Today we're remembering this beautiful story of a great saint called Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is a person of the eternal world. In the ancient scriptures it's explained that 99.9% of us are here in this world because we kind of wanted to just experience what life would be like, to have a good time. But there are very few individuals in this world who are here, but who are of an eternal nature, of a pure spiritual consciousness, and who by their life and times, by their journey in this world, explain to us many things, although they're not material in any way. And the great saint Raghunath Das Goswami is one of those people. Raghunath Das Goswami was born in an extremely wealthy family. He had everything. In modern terms, he would be a millionaire, probably a billionaire. 2 houses, 2 cars, 2 phones, too much. So much material opulence, more than anyone could imagine. Yet the amazing thing is, although he grew up in all of that opulence, he found none of it to be satisfying to his heart. This is a very, very deep lesson. Sometimes to find out what success is, most people have to first find out what success is not. Most of the people in the world haven't done this. They haven't found out what success is not. And therefore most of their time is just trying to endeavor for all these things. Jim Carrey once he said, I pray that everyone would become as famous and as rich as me, just so they would realize that none of it makes you happy. So most people aren't even there. They're looking for that. Raghunath Das Goswami, he had it all, but he wanted none of it. None of it was attractive to him. And therefore, from a young age, he was always a kind of a child who was looking in another direction. I guess all of you are in the Hare Krishna temple, and all of you have some of that Raghunath Das Goswami spirit in you as well. Otherwise, why would you be here? Why would you even be questioning? Why would you even be searching? So we all have a bit of that within us, that we look at the world and we think, nah, it's not really what people say it is. I can't just follow along with it anymore. No, I'm losing faith. I'm losing faith in the promises of the material world. So that's a very good doubt to have. That's a very good disposition, because that's what opens up the doors for higher endeavors. So Raghunath Das Goswami had that. But then what happened is, when he was very young, he had a life-changing incident. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, who is the divine person, who descends in every yuga, had descended in Kali Yuga, and he had come and he was born in a place called Navadvip. And just a short distance from Navadvip was another very beautiful place called Shantipur. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come to that place. And so Raghunath Das Goswami had heard about this divine person, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme person who he wanted to understand, who he wanted to approach. And therefore he went to Shantipur and he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore he came and he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he became completely mad in love. Have you ever been mad in love? No. Been mad in lust. Mad in love is very unique. So Raghunath Das Goswami, when he saw Mahaprabhu, he realized, this is what my heart was searching for all of this time. All of this time I felt an emptiness in the world. And now I know the person, I know the place where I need to repose all of my emotions, all of my feelings. So he returned, but he returned as a mad person. He couldn't concentrate anymore. He couldn't focus. He couldn't just continue on like a normal person anymore. And he just kept running away from home. And as he ran away from home, his parents would catch him and say, "Where are you running? Come back. We've got everything for you here." And then he would run away again. It came to the point where Raghunath Das Goswami had 5 guardmen watching him all day, 4 people who are personally taking care of every single one of his needs, and 2 individuals who were making all of his meals. His parents ensured that these 11 people were constantly around him, thinking that at least this way we'll make sure that he remains here. But you know what it's like. Once your heart is in a different place, you have to go there. So he kept running away, he kept running away. They realized he's gone mad. He's gone completely mad. Once even, I remember my mum came to me once. It was very sweet. And she just came to me and she said, "Can't you just be normal?" I said, "Mum, it's too late. I can't be normal anymore. Can't be normal." So they say you don't have to be mad to join the Hare Krishna movement, but it helps. You become a little mad because you can't connect with the world in the same place. It's just, it doesn't excite you anymore. You just can't. One time, one young boy, he wanted to join our temple, so he came in with the parents, and the parents were totally against it. So everyone was there, the mom, the dad, the boy, and then I was sitting next to one of our other devotees. So this other devotee, he was doing all the talking. So he became the mediator in the thing. Of course, he was convincing him to join, actually. But he strategically placed himself as the mediator. So he said, okay, you say your arguments. So the boy said, no, I want to join the temple, I want to become a monk, this is my heart is telling me. And then he looked at the parents and he said, you say your argument. He said, but no, he should study, he should do it. And finally this devotee, he said to the young boy, he said, leave the room, step outside. So the boy stepped outside. And then this devotee looked at the parents and he goes, your son's gone mad. And then he looked at them and he said, you better just let us take care of him. He said, this boy has gone mad. He could do anything, he could go totally off the rails, like he's not thinking straight. Just let us take care of him. We'll bring him back to proper consciousness. So they said, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Just keep an eye on him. Krishna's devotees are very intelligent. So Raghunath Das Goswami became mad. He was running away. Finally he went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a second time. And he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I just want to be with you. Material life, material world, it doesn't make any sense to me anymore. So Mahaprabhu told him then, in a very famous verse, he told him, don't be a madman. He said, don't be a madman. He said, for now, go back. Go back to your village. Go back to your family. Go back to your parents and serve them. Do all of your duties very, very carefully. And internally develop your desire for me more and more. And then when the time is right, then you will gain release from the prison of material life. So this is very profound. That in our hearts sometimes we just want to run away from everything. But sometimes what we have to do is we have to develop that sincere love for Krishna and intensify that. And then when that intensity is so strong, then naturally one will gain their desired destination. Sometimes we want to run away from material life, not because we're fully absorbed in God or in the spiritual destination to which we're going, but we're running away because we're frustrated by what we're running away from. So it's good to be frustrated, it's good to be detached, but detachment and frustration of material life is not enough. We also need to be positively attracted and attached towards the place that we're going to. That eventually should become more prominent than the detachment and the frustration from the material. So of course, this is Raghunath Das Goswami. He had all of these qualities, but just showing us. Mahaprabhu said, take your time. Don't do it prematurely. If you run away from everything prematurely, then you will actually end up making a mess of your whole spiritual journey. So sometimes if you're in your life and you feel like you're living in the prison and your heart wants to be and needs to be and desires to be somewhere else, sometimes realize that God may be keeping you in that situation just to increase your desperation and desire. Because once the desperation and desire reaches a certain intensity, definitely you will reach. So Raghunath Das Goswami went back and he began acting like a normal person again. And his parents thought, amazing, finally he's come to his senses. He's normal again. Raghunath Das Goswami performed everything as though he was very, very interested. But in his heart, his love, his desire for his spiritual destination was growing more and more. But then he realized, my desire to want to reach God is missing one ingredient. This is a very, very profound lesson. He had the inspiration that I need to go to a certain place and I need to meet a certain person. And when I go to this place and meet this person, then the final piece of the puzzle will come together and I will be able to gain release from the prison of my material life. And so he journeyed to a place called Panihati. You can go to this place today. It's a very, very beautiful place. And in Panihati, he went to meet a person called Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda, 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 Nityananda. Yes. Nitya means eternal, and Ananda means happiness. One who is always happy. So Nityananda is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's constant associate. Nityananda Prabhu is a very mystical personality and has many, many dimensions to the roles that he plays. But most essentially, Nityananda represents the spiritual teacher, the Guru. Raghunath Das Goswami had the wave. He understood, I'm running away, but until and unless I get the connection with the Guru, until and unless I get the blessings and grace of the Guru, unless and until I go through the via medium of the spiritual teacher, the representative, I will not be able to reach. So far I've been trying to run away, but I've been trying to run away directly. Now I understand the way to get to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is via the Guru. And so he went to Panihati, and there he met Nityananda Prabhu. And there they had a very, very wonderful meeting. And Nityananda Prabhu, he put his foot on Raghunath Das Goswami. And he gave Raghunath Das Goswami all of his mercy, all of his kindness, all of his blessings. He said to Raghunath Das Goswami, I want you to do one thing. I want you to serve all the devotees that are here by organizing a wonderful festival in which I want you to serve all of them chipped rice. Chida Dahi, this is called. Chida Dahi Mahotsav. Utsav means a festival, Mahotsav means a great festival, and Chida Dahi Mahotsav means the festival, the great festival of chipped rice. So this festival was prepared. Raghunath Das Goswami, with whatever riches he had, he organized this beautiful festival in which all the devotees were served very, very wonderfully. And Nityananda Prabhu was very, very happy. And at the end of the festival, Nityananda Prabhu, expressing his great happiness towards Raghunath Das Goswami, he said, now you have served the Vaishnavas, now you have served in the instructions of the Guru. Your release from material life is guaranteed. And very, very soon, you will attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Raghunath Das Goswami, he went back, and sure enough, sometime later, he was able to run away. But run away in such a way that this time nobody could bring him back. And he journeyed, an arduous journey in which he ate very little, he slept very little. Days and days he hiked through forests, and eventually he arrived at Jagannath Puri. And there in Jagannath Puri, he met the Lord of his life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and achieved his heart's desire. Raghunath Das Goswami escaped from jail. Prison break. They have a program like that, right? Prison break. Escape from Alcatraz. So this is the prison. He was able to escape from the prison because he had transformed his lust into love. If there's no love in the heart, then we will constantly be imprisoned. No one's holding you back. We look at the world around us and we think people are holding me back, situations are holding me back, my fortunes are holding me back. We think all my bad fortune is holding me back. Nothing is holding us back. The only thing that's holding us back is our own material desires. Because those are the only bars by which this material world is going on. If you've extinguished your material desires, you're free. Nothing's holding you back. But that lust has to be turned into love. And that love has to become so intense that it can't be stopped. It can't be checked. And so here Krishna tells Arjuna, Avritam jnanam etena. Our knowledge is covered. Avritam. Jnanino nitya vairina is covered by our eternal enemy. Kama rupena kaunteya. Who's that enemy? Lust. Dushpurena nalena cha. And that lust is burning like fire. So Raghunath Das Goswami shows us that the goal of our life is to become more and more absorbed, more and more attracted in the divine reality. You can only let go of this world by looking forward to the spiritual world. When we become so attracted and enamored by that destination, then we can leave everything behind. And so today everyone will get some chipped rice. Is it?
Yeah. Chipped rice, yogurt, bananas.
Yogurt, bananas, there's all types of flavors.
No,
Oh no, there's only one flavor.
No,
In the original festival there's many flavors.
No, there were two in the original festival.
Two? Only two? Strawberries?
No. No strawberries. There was one.
Mango.
This has
Mango.
mango and
There
cream.
was one with bananas, yogurt,
Okay,
and camphor. And there was another with condensed milk
Okay.
and some other type of milk. You don't have.
Okay, I didn't read that.
So
Okay.
we have made two generally. Today we make one, but it's mango is there. And it's soaked in milk first.
Okay.
Hot milk, that's the original.
Soaked in milk, yeah.
Hot milk first, then mix with yogurt, sugar also of course, and sugar, and bananas. First of all.
Sugar.
And strawberry lemon drink.
And then
Oh, there must be strawberries, yes. I'm a British person, so there has to be strawberry.
Forever.
I was thinking of different.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't
So
think
when
they
we're...
have
Yeah,
strawberries in
they
mango.
don't.
The
Yeah,
strawberry
yeah.
feels for
So when you're having this chipped rice, try to... It's all spiritually significant. As you're eating this chipped rice, remember the intensity that Raghunath Das Goswami had to want to escape the prison of material life. This is our opportunity in the journey we're on through these years, that we can escape the prison of material life. So as we're taking this chipped rice, we can remember his determination, his desire, his incredible intensity, and pray that let us also develop some of that on our journey to eternity. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes, he was married. He was... when he was running away, then his mother said to his father, "Why don't you tie him up with chains?" And his father looked at his mother and said, "He has a wife who's more beautiful than an apsara." You understand Apsara?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm glad. I don't know, like in, like it's like a Miss World kind of type of person, you know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like that. It's like Miss Sweden or something. I don't know. So he said he has a wife who's more beautiful than an Apsara. And he has riches which is greater than Indra. Understand? Riches greater than Indra? Oh yeah. That you also know that one. Yeah, Amaravati, Indra Loka. So his father said, if the beauty of his wife and the riches of the treasury cannot hold him back, what do you think chains will do? So
That's
that became
inspirational.
so insignificant. Sukham hitu cham. This is when someone becomes advanced, it just becomes so insignificant. So yes, he was with someone, but he gave it all up. So the purpose of this story is not to tell everyone to give up their wife or their husband and give up their house. And you can if you want to. We have vacancies as sannyasis. Plenty of opportunities. If you would like to, you feel inspired. But whether a sannyasi or a grihastha, we have to run away from material life in our heart, you see. Right? It's not that the day you take sannyas that all of a sudden you're out of the prison. No, because if you still harbor within your own heart material desires, then you're still right there. And it's not that the day you get married you enter into the prison. Sometimes they talk like that. Once there was a wedding at the manor, and one of our brahmachari, who used to be a brahmachari, he was getting married. So he was getting married in the manor. So he lived as a brahmachari there for many years. So it was like before he was going to get married, he had a ceremonial. He came to the brahmachari ashram for his last, So he walked up in the ashram, and is like ready to get married. So then 15 monks, brahmacharis, shining saffron, they circled him. Griham andakupam. They're reciting all the verses. Hitvatmapatam grihamandakupam. They started reciting, you still have a chance. You haven't done it yet. You can still. I mean, it was done in a jovial way. They said, you still got a chance. You're going to escape the prison before you throw the key away. And the amazing thing is, he got married, and he's an incredible devotee. I look at he does more service than me. Amazing. So where is the prison? The prison is your own lust, your own material. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you do. Isn't it? That's the prison. When Nelson Mandela was coming free from prison, I was just in South Africa, so I saw Robben Island. I went to Nelson Mandela's house, actually. So Nelson Mandela, when he was coming from prison, then someone tried to give him a Bhagavad Gita. So he said, I already read it. He said, really? Yeah, he said there was another political captive, a Hindu, in the prison. Because Robben Island was for political those kind of people. So he said, I already read it. So the person said to him, what did you learn? He said, what I learned from the Bhagavad Gita is that the day I walked free from prison, if I didn't simultaneously give up my anger, my bitterness, my negativity, my frustration towards the people who tried to harm me, if I didn't give up all of those emotions, then even though coming free from prison, I would still be in prison. We're imprisoned by our own consciousness. So Krishna is telling us, Maipunya Agara. The bars of lust is the prison. So yes. We have 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Is it Tapas Prabhu? If anyone has any questions or if you have any comments or anything more. Yes.
When Raghunath just met Nityananda Prabhu, he first offered obeisances from a distance.
Yeah.
And then Lord Nityananda said, come closer, you are a thief. Can you say something about why he said that.
Different explanations have been given of that, what he meant by that. And it can be seen from many angles of vision. Mahaprabhu said the same thing to Raghunath Das Goswami and Jagannath Puri as well. One way we can see it is that Raghunath Das Goswami, he had received the favor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the mercy of the Lord. There's nothing more valuable in the world than the mercy of the Lord. If God smiles on you, if the saints smile on you, then you get the greatest wealth, even though we're unqualified. And therefore, Raghunath Das Goswami, the great saints, had smiled on him in his life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had smiled on him. As he was growing up, Raghunath Das Goswami was in the home. Balaram Acharya, great devotee, smiled on him. Haridas Thakur would come to the home of Raghunath Das Goswami, smiled on him. Yadunandan Acharya, the family guru, incredible devotee, smiled on him. So in this way, Raghunath Das Goswami, he had received the wealth of grace, the wealth of mercy. And that wealth is so great that we can't do anything to deserve it. So in one sense, anyone who possesses it, in one sense, is a thief, because they're in possession of something that they don't have the adhikar to hold. And so Mahaprabhu Nityananda said, you're a thief. But it was a very good, in a nice way. It's very happy. You stole the mercy. Anyone who steals the mercy is wise. So that's what a devotee tries to do. A devotee tries to be a thief. In other words, they try to get the mercy, even when they know I'm not qualified, but they have to try to get the mercy. That's what a thief does. So yes, there you go. First we're telling you to escape the prison, and then we're telling you to become a thief. When you become a spiritual thief, then you escape the prison. When you become a material thief, you enter the prison. So become a spiritual thief, and then you gain release. Anyone else? Yeah.
Maharaj, there was this instruction given by Mahaprabhu, and I'm not sure if that was Raghunath Das Goswami, which said that one should meditate upon the Lord the same way how a chaste wife meditates upon her beloved while still serving the husband. Could you maybe give some explanation of this verse and explain where it was given to whom, because I don't remember the context.
Yeah. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had all his eternal associates who came to this world, and two of those associates were Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So they were living in a place called Ramakeli. They had never, at least physically, met Mahaprabhu in their life, but they had already received many dreams of Mahaprabhu, and therefore they were writing letters to Mahaprabhu saying that we just want to leave everything behind and we just want to join you. And so they had not physically met Mahaprabhu, but they were writing letters. And so, in answer to one of their letters where they wrote to Mahaprabhu that we want to leave and we just want to be with you, Mahaprabhu wrote a letter back. And in that letter he wrote a cryptic verse. Paravyasinini nari vyagrapi greha karmashu tadeva svadayatyantar navasanga rasayanam. He said, Paravyasinini nari, just like there is a woman, and that woman is married, but she has another lover. Vyagrapi greha karmashu, Her griha karma, her household work, vyagrapi, she does it very, very attentively. Tadeva svadayatyantar. But inside her heart, although she's doing everything externally in the house, navasanga rasayanam, she is always thinking, when will I have association with my lover? So her husband is looking at her thinking, she's doing the housework so nicely, she's really in love with me. But what he doesn't understand is that as she's doing it, she's only thinking, when will I be with him? Navasanga rasayanam. So that was the instruction, the cryptic message that Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Goswami. He also told Rupa Goswami, the time is not right. See, in spiritual life, timing is everything. You have to do it at the right time. Everything has its time. Like when the mango is ripe, then it drops. You don't have to pick it, it will drop. So when the time is right, it will happen. But we have the tendency to try to do something prematurely, or we drag it on and on and on when we should have already done it. We go to one extreme or the other. That's the problem. So, like either you get some people who like when they're like 27 and 2 years into marriage want to take sannyas. Or you get people who are like 80 and still want to try and enjoy and like get 2 houses and all that kind of stuff. You're like, come on, like you're past it now. Like it's another stage of life, So timing is everything. So what is the meaning of this? That again, it's that point that of course these are all eternal associates. They're fully in love with Mahaprabhu. But when we read all of these things, we take the lesson. And the lesson is that sometimes you need to be separated from your cherished aspiration in order to develop a deeper intensity within yourself, which means that when you actually reach that destination, you can fully embrace it. Does that make sense? It's said that Krishna was under the Vamsivat tree, and when he played the flute, then all the gopis ran to be with him. But some gopis couldn't run because there was some situation in the house which was holding them back. And it said for those gopis there was a fire of separation in their heart. But that fire of separation burned up any final vestiges of what was blocking their fully giving their heart to Krishna. And therefore the fire of that separation and distance was good. So when we hear all of these things, that you have to stay, you have to do your duty, but inside develop your intensity, we take the lesson that that means I have to become internally more greedy, more desirous. Your heart has to reach the destination, and then the body will definitely reach the destination. But oftentimes we're trying to reach a place with our body when our heart has not yet reached. So first your heart has to reach. First your heart must reach Vrindavan. When you go on pilgrimage, if you really want to go on pilgrimage, then your heart has to reach before your plane lands. But what happens is our plane lands and our heart is still at home. So your heart has to reach first. So, like that. Is that okay? Alex? Yeah.
So, how should we not get entangled in the activities of our material life? Because it's so, like we have to perform these duties as grihastas or not, but we all have our duties. So how not to get, it's super easy to get entangled with them. When we perform something that we're maybe not so attracted to, like we necessarily don't want to do these duties, but they are our responsibility. so it's so much easier to get entangled in such a thing and actually develop attraction rather than like when we're around devotees. I'm talking from my experience. It's so like I'm attracted to it when I'm in this surrounding, but once when I leave and I get to this my responsibilities, I actually get attracted to them and I enjoy these material activities. So I mean, I'm completely honest now. So.
Yes. Yeah, therefore two things are important. Number one, you have to connect everything very, very consciously with Krishna. And number two, you have to disconnect from those situations very, very regularly. These two things are very important. First thing is, everything you're doing in your life, nothing can be separated from Krishna. Eventually your work, your family, manasa deho geho jo kichu mor arpila tu epade nanda kishore, everything you have, that's the art of life. Krishna says to Arjuna, yoga karma shalam. What is the art of work? That somehow you create a life in which everything is connected to Krishna. Your parenting of your children is connected to Krishna. Your work is connected to Krishna. Your social time is connected to Krishna. Your whatever you do is always, Krishna is somehow always there in the picture. First thing. And then the second thing is not just that you have to connect everything that you're consciously doing in material life, but then you have to have very regular times where you disconnect from material life completely. And that happens every single day when you do sadhana. That happens one time in a year or 2 times or 3 times. Nowadays devotees do it a lot more. You go on a retreat and then you just disconnect from that identity. And on that retreat, the more that you can disconnect, and that means disconnect from the phones, disconnect from the identities, disconnect from the activities, and really fully immerse yourself in your eternal identity. In those times of disconnection, if you have quality disconnection, nowadays even as practitioners we have disconnection time, but it's not really disconnection, because in the disconnection time we're still absorbed in that. If you go on, if you're doing your japa, but then checking your messages, or you're going on a retreat, but then you're working from home and answering, and you're not really disconnecting. So there has to be a time when we just realize, I'm not of this world. I have nothing to do with this world. I'm just here. I'm just here for some time. I'm an eternal soul, servant of Krishna, completely separate. We have to be able to remove all of our roles. You see, there are roles and then there is identity. Identity is only one. You are an eternal servant of Krishna. And roles are many. But what happens is we tend to make our roles our identity. And we think of our identity as a role. I serve Krishna on a Sunday. Do my role as a servant. I did my role as a servant. I serve prasadam. Yes. That's very good. But it's more than a role. It's your identity. It's what you're supposed to be doing at every single moment. But then what we do is we take our role, which is something we're supposed to do superficially for a few hours, and then we take that as who we are. Identity crisis. That's basically the problem. Like they have this called, actors get this sometimes. You know this? They act in a role for so long. And when you're an actor, you have to really absorb yourself in the whole role of the actor. So then they do it. I think Daniel Day-Lewis, he also talked about this. And then he said, when you come off stage, he said it's the most it's like complete cognitive dissonance. You just can't, you just become that person that you are acting on stage. Because you're so immersed in that identity. Isn't it amazing? He said, you actually begin to talk like that person, think like that person. He said, you can't get out of it. That's basically what's happened. Therefore, anarthopashamam shakshad bhakti yoga madoksa jay lokasya janato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. Bhakti yoga removes all the anarthas, all these superfluous identities. That's what we have to do. Sorry, I went off the point. What was the question again? Yeah, disconnect. That was the point. All right, I think I'm going on and on. I think. Okay, it's not about apsaras, is it?
Radharani, she's so-called husband Abhimanyu.
Pardon me?
Radharani is married to
Oh, so-called husband, yeah.
Yeah. So Radharani is always thinking, meeting Krishna. So how is Abhimanyu's role in this? How is rasa with Krishna?
He's thinking of his cows.
How is he reacting?
He's thinking of his
What's his role in the...
Yeah, his rasa with Krishna. Because he thinks Radharani is my wife and she always running away to Krishna. I mean, it's not a good thing, he thinks. So, he's not envious because it doesn't exist in the spiritual world. So I was just thinking how, maybe he's an illusion, he doesn't know that she's with Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we were jumping straight into it's like, wow. From the prison into the whoosh. I'm also not qualified to speak on these things, but so Rupa Goswami explains that there are 12 rasas, 5 primary and 7 secondary. In Vrindavan there are 12 forests, and therefore it's said that the 12 forests represent the 12 rasas because the 5 are steady and then the 7 are secondary. You understand? The 5 primary ones, you know this, right?
Yeah.
Like neutral, servitude, friendship, parental, lover. And then there are 7 secondary, anger, wonder, chivalry, like that. So everyone is having a rasa with Krishna in different ways. Some are very direct, some are very, very loving, some are very, very, sweet. And others are having a rasa with Krishna in a different way. For example, when Bhishma Dev is launching arrows and Krishna is attacking Bhishma Dev, this is also a rasa. It's said like the arrows that are being launched at each other in that rasa of love, they're like love bites. Understand love bites?
Yeah.
Oh, just testing. So this is another type of love. So we can understand that everyone in the spiritual world, even those who sometimes seem to be opposed, they are creating some opposition to the meetings of Krishna and his most beloved associates. Even they are eternal actors in the rasa, and even they are because if that obstacle was not there, if they did not give that rasa, then the sweetness of the separation and the adventure and the excitement and the intrigue would not fully manifest. So Krishna is in Nandagram, Srimati Radharani is in Varshana, and then in the middle there's a meeting place called Sanket. And it's explained that this is the meeting place where Krishna and Radharani and the gopis meet. But on the way there are so many intrigues and different things, different routes and different things that need to be done in order for them to meet, which is all part of the divine play. So this is called Leela. Leela means divine play. And everyone in that divine play is a divine player. And even when sometimes it feels like they are doing things which are seemingly against what Krishna's desire is, They are also divinely arranged to be divine players in the divine play.
So it's all good. All good.
Yeah, that's a nice way to summarize it. It's all good. It's all good in the spiritual world. It's all beautiful. Because it's a perfect place.
The other day we saw a video of Prabhupada Remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
Prabhupada, one devotee, was walking in New York in this drug area.
Lower East Side,
Yeah,
the Bowery.
on the way to some shop or something. And this disciple, he wanted to say something, so he said to Prabhupada, "Oh, it's a nice weather." And Prabhupada said, "Everything is wonderful."
Yeah. That's the vision of it. Yeah, like we end on this point. Krishna says in the Gita that Mam upetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam. That when someone sees this world, they should see that it's simply temporary and miserable. But later on in the writings of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, what does he say? Vishvam purna sukhayate. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the world is dukhalayam, full of misery. But what does Prabodhananda Saraswati say? Vishvam purna sukhayate. When the devotee looks at the world, they simply see everything is wonderful. You think like, are these guys on the same page? Like, same teaching? Yes. Because if you try to enjoy this world, if you try to exploit this world, if you try to control this world, know for sure the world is going to be a miserable place. But if you use the world for service, if you use the world to try to find Krishna, if you use this body and all the facilities you have to try to actually do something wonderful, devotional service, then it's full of happiness. So both are true. Depends on the consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki.